Let's quickly get in a sense of perspective on the current developments taking place in Mali. For that, I'm joined by our correspondent Phil Ihaza, who's joining us live from Abuja in Nigeria for more. Phil, a very warm welcome to you. Do share details about how this coup unfolded and when is the military expected to release the president and the prime minister?
Well, thank you. It all started several months ago when, anti-government protesters who were not happy with the government and, developments that occurred as a result of parliamentary elections in March, that most opposition parties were not comfortable with the results. They alleged that there were lots of irregularities in that election that saw an upper hand given to the former president at this time now. That's Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta at the time. So these protests have continued for several weeks, several months. Protesters refusing to go back home, and they were insisting on the resignation of the president at the time. There was, of course, mediation and talks, from the ECOWAS body, the Economic Community of West African States, and also leaders of 5, countries, including Nigeria. That's Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari. They paid a visit to try to, find, a truce, a peace talks. But the opposition party refused and insisted on the resignation of the president. And we started hearing reports of mutiny by several soldiers in Kati, that's a garrison town just 15 kilometers from the capital of Bamako, on Tuesday evening. And at first there were it looked like reports of soldiers angry about the fact that they were not paid well, their wages and all that. But we've seen now that it has, become or evolved into a coup, which has even forced the resignation of the president, Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta.
Right. Phil, also the United Nations, African Union and the European Union have condemned the military coup, but the sentiment on ground zero is a sharp contrast with people celebrating the president's resignation. What actually explains this sentiment?
Well, you know that this is not the first time a coup is occurring in Mali. In fact, a very similar semblance just happened about 8 years ago in 2012, which saw a transitional government and then, of course, an election that brought this outgoing president, Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, into power. So it is also following the same kind of proceedings or approach as it occurred in 2012. So the military has announced that they are not willing to hold on to power. They are going to ensure that the transitional government comes in place anytime soon, especially with the pressure from international organizations. And then, of course, a democratic election will be held to now see a democratically elected leader take over the reins of power in Mali. So the pressure from the UN, which, of course, officials are holding an emergency meeting today, and the ECOWAS and other bodies will definitely see that the soldiers heed to their promise to ensure that a transitional government comes in place very soon.
Right, how that promise actually pans out is something they'll have to wait and watch. Last but not the least, Phil, critics are comparing the current situation to the coup of 2012, which hastened the fall of Mali's north to armed groups linked with the Al-Qaeda. Is Mali's military strong enough to fight the threat of armed groups like ISIS or Al-Qaeda?
Well, you know that they've been in this battle for years now. In fact, one of the reasons why the coup took place in 2012 was the fact that, some of the soldiers said that they were happy with the way the military, the battle at the time was going, because it was going in favor of insurgents who almost took over the northern part of the country. So it's not as if the military cannot handle it. It's about the political will. It's about the leadership of the country. And maybe that's why we're seeing these uprising and this coup taking place. So it's about having a proper support by all parties or most parties in the government, in the leadership of the country. And of course, gaining, attention from international, from foreign countries to see how that they can support. Mali has Some French forces also supporting the country. So once there's a leadership, right leadership, of course the military can tackle the insurgency with the support of international bodies.
Well said, Phil. It is a matter of finding the right leadership. Here's hoping Mali actually finds that. Thank you so much, Phil Ihaza, for bringing us all those latest details from Mali.